Well, I remember the earliest memories was going to the library and going to the adult section of the library and sneaking out cookbooks and reading those and getting so excited that I could hardly kind of contain myself. And building up all these fantasy menus in my head, which never came to fruition, but that was always a fantasy about it. I can remember as a child, one of the very first things I cooked was a complete disaster. And it's kind of a bit of a sad story really, but I saw this dish in a magazine and I was really wanted to make it. I was very excited about it. And my mother went out shopping and I thought, okay, while she's out, I'm going to make this dish. And what it is like 2 tin pear halves that you kind of squish together with whipped cream and you pipe little faces on the pear, so they're like little pear people. But in fact, I whipped the cream, I'd seen her whipped cream before, and I put it together and, anyway, made this dish. And she came home and looked in the fridge and kind of couldn't work out what it was, but what had happened in the end when they kind of proudly tasted it was that I'd used salt instead of caster sugar to whip the cream together, so it all separated and tasted disgusting. So that was kind of my disaster story. I grew up in the countryside and we fished every day of our lives. My grandfather used to go fishing every day. And then we'd kind of either sometimes cook it on the beach or bring it home. He'd have his own he used to smoke his own fish. So, and there was fishermen over the back fence who used to hand over buckets of prawns and lobsters and stuff. So it was always, food was always there. We had chickens, we had vegetables. I go back to Australia every 18 months, I guess. And the thing that I love the most about going there, and this is the reverse of that, is to get inspiration, because I think that the Australians are natural cooks. I think people seem to cook a lot more without any restraint. So I just trawl the cafes and pinch their ideas almost, just to see what people are doing. And that's always inspiring. The way my inspiration for food is, it's multiple. I guess it's seasonal, because the seasonal is the most important thing. Because things are in abundance, they're at their peak and they're also at their cheapest. So that's always an important thing. Travelling is another one, and I would never ever go on a holiday if it wasn't kind of food inspired. So there's no sitting on the beach for hours unless there's a great restaurant nearby. That's and often I'll have dishes on holiday and bring the ideas home and put them in the magazine even. I remember last year I went to Greece and we had stuffed peppers. I had the most wonderful stuffed peppers. We went there every day just to have the stuffed peppers. So then I had to put stuffed peppers, my own version of them, in the bag. If there's new stuff happening or new trends or new fashions that you see people as all cooking Mediterranean or all cooking Middle Eastern or something, that always inspires me as well. I love Italian food because it's easy to cook and it's simple and it's rustic and it's all those things that I love about food. My favourite dish is probably, and I kind of hate this question because there's so many things you could choose from, it's probably roast chicken. And that's probably the dish I cook more than anything else. And it's nostalgia value, and it's about using great ingredients and cooking them really simply, and it can vary all the way through the year, about what vegetables you serve with it and whether I have bread sauce or not, or whether I stuff it or not. But roast chicken basically is the thing because I think it's wonderful. My favourite restaurant, I guess in London, would be Jay Shiki, and it's just because everyone used to always tell me how great Dover Sole was, and I'd never quite understood how wonderful Dover Sole was until you have it at Jay Shiki, and there is something just really special about it. And I have the same thing every time I go. I have their potted shrimp and their Dover Sole, and it's perfect. I've got diabetes, so I really shouldn't eat puddings at all. There's always the stuff that you're not allowed to have that you want. But if people invite me for dinner, and it doesn't often happen because people are always too scared to invite you for dinner, I'll eat anything. I'll eat sardines on toast, but I really love a pud. And if I go to someone's dinner, they haven't served me pud, I feel that I've been kind of missed out on something.
So if we wanted to impress David Herbert, what should we
bread and butter pudding, something like that. Something simple and old-fashioned and comforting, like me.
That's great.